honouring all the myths and stories, all the failures, all the glories, stepping boldly forth into this eternal moment. Are you ready? Are you ready? Everybody and everything is real. Everybody and everything is one.
Hello, and lovely to be here with you. I've been apprised by Sue Decree of the fact that my computer microphone is picking up every movement I'm making and making all this swishy, scratchy sounds. The thing is, I can't really avoid that because I haven't set it up with the mic and the sound card, and I didn't know it was doing that. So let's say that every time you hear a swishy, scratchy sound, you use it. I'm proposing this. I'm not telling you to. You use it as a signal, a trigger to help you relax even more. Which is actually, now I come to think of it, the very crux of what we're talking about here today. Because if you can welcome all incoming stimuli, however ostensibly irritating, and acquiesce to them as being the Tao whispering to you, if you want to be romantic about it. This goes along with vowing to receive everything that ever happens to you as an expression of absolute love. And if you can do that, you're actually opening the door and walking through the door into the corridor of eternal peace. Well, we'll explain peace properly in a minute. We're going to look at peace properly in a minute. Pump up your peace. I'm obviously an alliteration junkie. Alliteration meaning the first letter of each word is the same. What do I mean by peace pump? I just like the sound of that, peace pump. It's stupid, really. But in a way it's not, and I'll also explain why that as well. There are many things that one could say about all of this schema, the Taoist ways of being in a state of perpetual peace. One of them is, the big one is that the equation of the inner and the outer, apparently it's really quiet as well. I kind of can't do anything about that because it's like I'm getting a full readout on the meter. Anyway, I'm doing my best. I hope this is all coming through properly, loud and clear and properly for everybody. The intention certainly is, even if the sound isn't. So the inner and the outer. We have this world all about us, and that's the outer, do you want outer peace, peace in the world, there's that level, and then there's the inner peace. Now, we are programmed to seek inner peace by maintaining outer peace. We are programmed in our culture to make life peaceful on the outside, believing that that will give us inner peace. And the Taoists, well, actually, we can see that doesn't work because we're in the bloody mess we're in. But the Taoist way, it's not the only one that does it this way, but it's my favourite anyway. The Taoist way is that you seek inner peace, and then the outside will reflect that. That's a metaphysical axiom. We're trained to believe that we react to the outside, therefore we try to change the outside. What they're saying is, that we treat the inside and then the outside mirrors that back at us. And I'm not asking you to believe me, I'm just saying take it as an existential, experimental stance and see what happens. And I think you'll agree when you do, give it a while so you get used to it, that it does work. It might be and it works. The world around is a mirror to what you believe it to be. Even the swishy, scratchy noises, and maybe even me being you can't even hear a word I'm
Stephen,
saying, is all... Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. The sound is really, really bad. All we're hearing is like banging and sort of scratching and what have you. I'm just wondering whether it might be worth just pausing to get your sound card, because I can't imagine that you could do the meditation with that noise going on.
Okay, well, forgive me for this. If I can get everybody's agreement, this is going to take me approximately 4 minutes. Yeah, hang on. Are you getting anything?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Loud and
Loud
clear.
and clear and without scratching at the minute.
Which I bloody well think so too, because we're now talking through a 2,000 pound vocal mic,
Marvellous.
handheld
Right,
instead of stuck up on a thing. Yeah,
I'll
okay,
go
cool.
away again now. Bye, everyone.
Oh, thank you. Well, 1,008 apologies for that lack of professional, whatever it's called, continuity. Yeah, well, I know, it was so good what I was saying as well. It's a shame, I don't remember what it was. Yeah, pumping up the piece is what we're on about here. And I was saying about the Western approach, so to speak, is that we attempt to change the outside and make the outside neat and tidy and peaceful, thinking that that will then give us inner peace. You know, you could extend that to the idea of getting your pension sorted out, getting your house sorted out, and all of that sort of thing. And it doesn't work, obviously. We can see that. And the Taoists, amongst others, including Jesus, in fact, said it's the other way round. If you attend to your inner peace, the outside will conform to that. It will mirror it back at you. That is a basic metaphysical axiom, that whatever is occurring within will be reflected back at you from without. We, in our culture, believe that we are at the mercy of the outside. Therefore, we are reflecting back at the outside what we perceive it to be. And that is a barbarian type of way to live. It doesn't work. It's crude. It's just not, it has no finesse to it, and it's inefficient. This much more ancient way has finesse. It requires a lot less energy, and you get much more effect for it. And what we're talking about here is really attaining to a state of perpetual peace. And I will explain that in a minute, because it's not exactly what it sounds like. My intention with today's session is to invite and facilitate the dawning of this inner peace for everybody present, and for this to spread beyond us to everyone we all know, and from them to everyone they know, and so on, and therefore thereby instigate a wave of peace energy amongst the whole human family. And that's my intention for all of us. My personal intention, which perhaps I should keep to myself, but I'm not going to, is really to calm the world as I'm perceiving it. I'll explain why. Apart from being fairly clued into the story, the backstory of what's occurring, it is being corroborated by signs of, that I'm actually seeing in my own daily life. There were, for 3 mornings this week, out in East Anglia, in the east of England, where there are a few American air bases as well as British ones, for 3 hours each morning, for 3 days, for approximately 3 hours, the sky was one long continuous sonic boom, as one jet after another, after another, after another, after another, flew off in a southeasterly direction towards the Russian border, presumably. I don't know that for sure, that bit. I'm surmising. But I doubt it was to the Belgian border. And a friend of mine, thinking maybe I was imagining it, because you never know, do you? I could have been fantasizing the noise and all the rest. A friend of mine lives on the south coast of England, which is a good for a few hundred miles, I don't know, about 400, 300, 200 miles away. Texted to say, is there a war on or something? Because I've never seen so many jets flying over across the sea. Today, driving from London to the hideout, there were no less than 5 military convoys. And I'm not talking like 3 little vehicles. These were 20, 30 vehicles long, and they weren't the amateur sort of let's go play on a Sunday ones. They were each one stacked right up to the hilt with tools and weapons and supplies and all that stuff. And there were 5 convoys of that many over a space of an hour and a half. This wasn't just a little hobby Sunday afternoon, let's go and play with the toys, guys, because that costs about 30 grand to move all that stuff. You know, in other words, there's stuff going on. The military build-up at the moment at the Russian border is said to be the biggest that's ever happened in human history. Now, I'm not suggesting that they're doing anything more than a very, very elaborate, expensive, hugely expensive posturing show at the moment. In fact, I know that's what they're doing. And I also have a hunch, and my hunch is pretty good with all this stuff, that what will come into the mix here to save the day at the last moment will hopefully, anyway, be China, who have gained at least the notoriety of being in the ascendant as a world power now. It was about a month ago, it was acknowledged that in terms of their industrial purchasing power, that index, they are the biggest economy on the planet now. Not in GDP, but in purchasing power, which is a fairly good gauge. And then this week, the Admiral of the fleet, of the American fleet, addressed Congress about the state of play and said that China are outgunning them now. They have more effective, more sophisticated, far more sophisticated, and more powerful and more numerous nuclear submarines, which is one of the main tactical forward weapons, as you know. My hunch and prayer, and this is this is how I could imagine it playing out, is that at a certain point in the game, China steps in and just says to America, okay, stop, that's enough aggression now, you cannot keep pushing them this far, stop, just stop. And that will, and they probably have to listen to that because they're not going to be able to take on both of those nations. This is my prayer and my prediction. I might be completely wrong, and I hope I'm not though, or if not that, maybe something else. I have great optimism that we can collectively kind of steer ourselves away from this major punch-up that is developing, in comparison to which the ISIS malarkey is merely a bit of theatrical smokescreen going on in the foreground to distract everybody. I'm talking about if we were looking at the world dramaturgically. So we are in a really precarious state on the planet right now. I don't say this in an alarmist way. I don't say this in a worried way or an anxious way. I say it in a fascinated way, a transpersonal way. It's a privilege to be alive, to witness such huge development. And it's exciting. We all chose this incarnation for that very reason. And if we'd have wanted a quiet one, we would not have chosen, our spirits would not have chosen this time round to come to the planet. So yeah, so this is important. The reason I'm saying this to you is because when we talk about pumping up the peace, I'm not talking about going into denial and getting into fairies and unicorns and angels and all that nonsense and forgetting and pretending this stuff isn't going on, because that is deluded. What I'm talking about is realistically accommodating everything that's going on, all the madness or this kind of urge to violence on the one hand, as well as the innumerable amount of people like us who are turned on and open-hearted and kind and willing to grow and accommodate the entire human family through the next stage of evolution, which in numbers are certainly in the majority by far. Because strangely, if you look back through human history, we've had a near endless cycle of wars from at least the start of recorded history, and yet peace has always broken out in the end and has actually always eventually prevailed. I accept there have been times of huge cullings, and alas, this seems to be part of the ferocious style of nature that this happens. The Second World War, for example, was for those people at that time the most unimaginably awful thing that could ever happen. And yeah, after it was all over and all the ineffable, indescribable tragedy had started to, the shock of it started to settle and fade. Since then, there has still had been the greatest splurge of prosperity growth and consciousness growth and freedom of speech and thought and an open-hearted lovingness and a willingness to expand global trade and global exchange of ideas and culture and so on and so forth. And then came the eclipse of 1999. At that point was the beginning of the close down again. It started to contract, and it's increasingly contracting now. There is another eclipse on the 20th of March, and I have no idea what its significance is. But I do wonder, could this possibly be the very beginning moment of the yang open up again? And it can be. Just because things seem to go in a certain direction and look like they're inexorable and intractable, it doesn't mean they are. Because everything is controlled by consciousness. Everything starts with ideas, and ideas gaining popularity and momentum thereby. And one idea does not last forever. Every idea is replaced by another idea. And so really what we're doing here is we're instigating, amplifying, pumping up an idea. And that idea we then sail out into the sea of humanity, and with enough of a good tailwind and enough of a good flick from us, it becomes a social super me, bit by bit by bit, until eventually that desire for what I consider sanity to prevail again will be enough that it will. And everybody with the power to make the decisions, whoever does make the decisions, will be influenced by that to enough of an extent that they will have second thoughts before doing anything totally stupid. And I say that because we do tend to think of the political leaders as being like they know what they're doing. And I'm sure they do, the individuals, a lot of the time. But I don't know any human being that knows what they're doing all the time, especially when under pressure. And when I look back at, say, for example, American military adventures over the last 50 years or so, every single one has been a complete and utter failure and a mess. So these guys don't really know what they're doing. You know, they don't. They're just sort of doing the very best they can in an impossible situation, really. And I feel for them. I truly do. And so what we're doing here now is we're helping them as much as we're helping everybody. We're helping the poor guys who have to try and control all this, and women, although there's only one woman I can think of, and she is like my hero, all heroes, which is Angela Merkel. We're helping all of those people maintain the calm, maintain the peace. Now that is my personal desire for the effect of this session. You can ignore all that. It's totally up to you. You can be in denial about it. You can do whatever you like with it. Because what we're really going to do is be focusing on the inner. Because if enough of us come together, as we're doing now, to focus on allowing the inner peace to take hold, with the intention that that will naturally be reflected back at us on the outside, I have a very strong feeling that we will have a natural effect. And I don't think I'm being deluded or having, or grandiose in my thinking to suggest that. I'm not saying it's going to be like an instant bang, bang, turn a switch on, everything changes. But, we're saying, when you pour a really hot bath and it's scorching and you put the cold water in to cool it down, you know how it kind of takes a while. You swish it around and around. It takes a while for that cool water to get the temperature to normalise for you. And it's kind of like that. That's how I see it. Like little drops of cold water going into the boiling hot bath bit by bit, but keeping on going. But a little trickle that keeps going and going. Bit by bit, it'll get the temperature to settle. I'm not talking about one or the other. We're not talking about black or white. We're talking about just a little adjustment, just a tiny adjustment to ease it off the danger level. And when I say peace has prevailed, this isn't idealistic either. If you just look around you, the proof is here. We're here. We're still here. If it hadn't prevailed, we wouldn't be. That's the proof. And the vast majority of us do live in relative peace with both each other and even with ourselves. I know that most people are in a very distressed state. I know this because I don't meet most people, but I do meet a lot of people. And pretty much everyone that I meet, I know everyone I meet, not pretty much everyone I meet, is in some degree of distress internally. They wouldn't admit it necessarily immediately, but you talk for a little while and it's quite clear that everybody is going through it, without exception. And the reason that I do everything I do and teach all this stuff, and for myself, as primarily to keep me in a state of joyfulness, peacefulness, which I can then spread to everybody else. This is the only way I know of doing it, is building really good sturdy shock absorbers so that you can roll with it. You've got suspension and you can roll with it, whatever. So no matter how bumpy the road, you can maintain your equilibrium. You don't get jolted around too much. But look around. I mean, most people do not spend all day killing people or killing themselves. Some do, and it makes a big noise. It stands out, so it looks bigger than it actually is. Most cars on the roads, think of the zillions of cars on the roads, don't crash. But most of us do manage to keep going as individuals. We don't seem to collapse and stop, not the most of us. So that even when we have devastated the crap out of each other, like with the Second World War, or I could give you more recent examples, somehow or other, humanity has managed to abide if only by a thread at times. But this urge to violence in humanity is a fairly obvious one. As I say, it's loud, it makes a noise. But the urge to peace, for me at least, is far, far more interesting because it's quiet and it's discreet. It doesn't make a noise, the urge to peace. And though far more subtle than the urge to violence, is evidently far hardier and more durable over the long term, as I'm saying. The short term here, though, is obviously the more pressing challenge for now. I mean, we are actually faced with a situation where it's like two big guys are standing opposite each other, and they're going, yeah, 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 and they're like ready for it. And everyone's sort of kind of putting them back and sort of letting them on at the same time. And it's in that state of balance, if you like, at the moment. Let me leave that little scenario at that point there. Welcome to the satsang. If you've never been before, welcome. If you've been before, welcome. This sequence, of which this is the penultimate in the series, has the moniker of the spirit restorative sequence. Reason being is it's to restore the connection to the spirit, to the immortal side of you, or aspect of you, the ancestral self, the original self. Because by restoring that connection, what actually happens is that the bit of you that you think of as not the spirit, you know, the personality, the local self, the part of you that is referenced to the environment and everything in the environment, that actually is seen immediately. Once you've restored the connection to the big self, the small self is seen to be merely a construct. It really is just that. And of course there's vulnerability and there's fear and there's weaknesses and all of that. And you don't want the small self to feel pain. Of course not. Nobody wants anyone to feel pain. Well, we don't, I'm sure. Nobody here. So it's not as if the illusion of this constructed self doesn't have impact on the spirit. It does. But when situated in the big self, when identified with the big self, it puts all the relatively minor concerns of the local small self in perspective. And that was, you know, what we've been doing in this series so far. We started off by looking at your, again, alliteration, freak me, purpose. What's your purpose here? I'm saying it's joy, to enjoy every minute of it. Then perspective, to get it broad and big. And then pleasure, have it taking pleasure in being here, letting it please you. And positivity, being positive in your outlook and your approach. And now we're looking at peace. The perspective is, they're all linked. You see, they all help each other along. When you know what your purpose is, which is to enjoy each and every moment to the full, because this is the gift you've been given. It's the biggest gift that you could ever be given, existence. And it's lovely in a human form as well. What beautiful things humans are. Fascinating reality we have. It's a real gift, a real privilege. It's certainly, I would imagine, a lot more interesting than being a three-toed sloth, for example. And so once you've got your purpose sorted out, which you know is to feel the joy and then to naturally spread that joy to everybody, can't do better service than that. You need perspective. Your perspective has to be broad and it has to be big rather than myopic and miasmic, because that enables you to keep adjusting your focus so that you're not focusing on problems all the time and thereby destroying your joy. You're focusing on the gift constantly, no matter the disturbances that try and distract you from it. Being focused on pleasure, not in a hedonistic way, but allowing every moment to please you rather than displease you, rather than fall prey to churlish self-pity at every turn, to rise up to what is beautiful and feel the pleasure in it, thereby appreciating the gift. That then engenders or enables a positive outlook, a positive attitude and approach to being here, which is what then takes care of your next step and so on. And then that makes it a lot easier to open yourself up to the notion of being at peace. But what is peace? See, peace is not a static state. It's not something that you turn on and it lasts as a solid peace, wall-to-wall peace forever. I mean, actually, can you think of anything more cripplingly boring than that? Peace is a fluid state, and it's something that you make a choice about, not just once, but in each and every moment. And the choice is, do you acquiesce, accept, surrender, and relax with each incoming moment, with the information in each moment? Do you just go, this is the most amazing gift that could ever be. I have another moment of existence. And no matter what color it is, or flavor it is, or shape it is, or how it's lit, or what it sounds like, or smells like, or whatever, I acquiesce to this. I accept it. I surrender to it, and I relax with it. Or do you resist and tense up with 100 reasons and justifications for doing so, and thereby not enjoy the moment, not feel the peace in the moment, not be relaxed in the moment? It's a choice in every moment between peace and non-peace. Now, peace is not the absence of disturbance, because that is the external approach to it. You know, if you can wear noise-cancelling headphones, if you can have double, triple glazing, if you can have really thick carpets and all the rest of it, and everything's very well insulated and soundproofed, and your food is always going to be brought, you know, everything's sorted out, that absence of disturbance, if you could manage it over a long period of time, would not bring you peace. And I know it wouldn't, because I know people, I have friends even, who have managed to do that. They managed to make enough money to buy themselves that thing, that wall-to-wall blanking out of disturbance. And there isn't peace there. The people who do that are just as, if not more, disturbed by their inner processes as everyone else. So it's not the absence of disturbance, but what it is an easy accommodation of disturbance. Disturbance is inevitable. There will always be disturbance, both within you and from the outside. This is because everything is in motion. How could there not be disturbance if everything's in motion? Throughout the universe, on every level, on every scale, everything is moving. And half of that, should we say, is harmonious movement, without banging into each other and stuff. And the other half, we have to presume, has friction in it. You know, things kind of tectonic plates moving against each other, banging into each other, causing earthquakes, and so on and so forth. There will always be disturbance. You're going through processes constantly. You're working things out. You're assimilating new information. You're creating new pictures out of it, new descriptions. The old descriptions don't work anymore. There's disturbance. You've got conflict between the two. So it's inevitable. And there will always be disturbance on the outside, again, because everything's moving. People make noise. Aeroplanes make noise. Everything makes noise and smells and whatever. So there's always going to be disturbance. So if peace depended on there being no disturbance, there would never ever be any peace for anyone for more than a moment. So that sort of passing peace, when you get a moment of, like when those aeroplanes, when the sonic boom stopped, I was outside doing my training each morning, so I knew it was happening, or I became aware of it. When it stopped, it was, wow, what's that? Silence. Wow. And then I could hear the wild geese flying, and I could hear the little wild animals moving around and stuff. There was peace, which lasted for a moment or two until an Apache helicopter flew over, in fact. That's what happened then. So the passing peace is very sweet and very lovely, but it's not the real thing. To be able to accommodate the disturbance within you and the disturbance outside of you so comfortably and easily that it doesn't impinge on your stability of view, your outlook, the mood, and your state. So that no matter what happens, and no matter how you're reacting even to what happens, your stability remains intact. That's what I mean by shock absorbers and suspension. So it's in a fluid way, a bouncy, soft bouncy way, not a static, rigid way. Because static is unreal. Nothing is static in this universe. It doesn't exist. It's an illusion. All is in motion. Motion, as I say, generates friction, and friction makes disturbance. Disturbance is inevitable. However, when you sink into the back of you, the bit behind your side seams, the side seams of your shirt, your dress, your t-shirt, and your hat even, where everything is still, in your back it is all very still. There is no disturbance happening in your back, not very much anyway, unless there's pain there. And you come back into the bigness at the same time of the universe, because there's no personality in the back. There's none of this distracting, constructed self making a noise and doing its performing monkey tricks in front of you. There isn't there. There's just reality, which is the universe. You kind of become that. You become big enough to accommodate all disturbance with equanimity, and for it thus to not impinge on your peace. So when you're back there and you're big enough that you can accommodate all the motion, all the friction, all the disturbance of life, comfortably, there's enough space for you inside of you to accommodate it. It won't impinge on your peace. That is the way of the way. The way, by the way, is a translation of Tao. Tao means way. That's one of its meanings. The big way, the way of all things. It's also the point of origin of everything. The great illuminant, the original point of light, the divine fiat that then spreads out and makes this universe. And in the doing of that, because not to be presumptuous in trying to understand it intellectually, we just see it as the way. It's the way of it all. The way of it all. It does this. So this is the general simplistic gist of the Taoist approach to attaining perpetual peace. And then what actually is peace, though? Because this is quite interesting as well. I say peace is the natural state when left unperturbed by external stimuli, when resilient enough to not be perturbed by external stimuli. There is peace naturally. It's not a thing you have to attain to. It's there already. It's the ground of being. The question is, though, can it actually be pumped? Can you take the ground of being, the natural state, and pump it? Isn't that anomalous? Well, I say yes, you can. Because the natural state, whether you describe it as peace or you describe it as love, which incidentally is the theme of the next sequence of satsangs, the love satsangs, because you can describe it any way you like. The natural state really is the field of qi, qi being the description of the universe in motion, of the Tao in motion, the force of its motion, imbued with primordial consciousness, which is susceptible to being acted upon by your consciousness, by our consciousness. It's psychoactive energy, in other words. That is the natural state. And any quantum physicist will tell you the same thing. When you strip down this illusion to its nuts, what you get there is qi. You get energy. It's all energy impregnated with consciousness. And this qi, as I say, is susceptible to being activated to the next level of refinement at any moment. And it's simply done by you intending it and focusing that way. And when I say you, I mean all of us, especially when we do it together, because that exponentially multiplies the effect of it. Peace is the yin and the yang of qi, like the negative, positive poles in the electric current, flowing in relative harmony rather than fighting each other. So rather than getting like a fusing and in the wires, you get this wonderful circuitry which enables you to keep the lights on. By harmonizing the yin and the yang, the negative and positive, the disturbance and the tranquility within, and then injecting that harmony with a surge of amplification through your intention, and then by breathing into it and shunting it round the body and beyond the body, you do actually pump the peace and reap the benefits for everyone, not just yourself. And then we realize that all these qualities, peace, strength, whatever it is we're looking at, have a correlation with a certain center or with various centers in the body. Now, peace is obviously all about the heart, because when your heart area, your chest, is at peace, when it's relaxed, when it's big and broad and huge enough to accommodate everything that's occurring, including your own impatience and fears and frustrations and insecurities and all the different conflicting drives, as well as all the noise outside. When your heart center is big enough to accommodate all of that and be relaxed and warm and joyful with a laugh in it, that's peace. That's peace. So now is the time to experience this for all of us. Allow your local mind, the part of your mind that sits in the front of the brain, to have a little exeat. Just tell it, look, you're off duty for a bit now, buddy. I don't need you making the noise in there. It's Sunday. No need to be working today. Just let it go. You go for a walk. Go on, go outside and just play for a bit. You never play. Go on, go out and play. You've been working so hard. Just go and take a break. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Goodbye. And just let it go. The way you let it go, of course, is by drawing the point from which you're experiencing all of this into the cerebral cortex instead, like into the rear part of the brain. You could imagine yourself as a tiny wee Buddha, but with your face on, walking from the front of a cave that happens to be the front of your skull to the back of the cave, because you've been working all week in the front of the cave. You told all the guys to go home and make their noise somewhere else. And what a relief, you think, as you walk to the back of the cave, all silent and beautiful, with that ancient primordial energy in the cave, that wonderful darkness, that soothing pre-light energy, that primordial darkness, which is not evil, of course. It's beautiful, it's soothing, it's still, absolute peace. And you've noticed the beautiful pile of cushions that is normally there at the back of the cave that you would sit on to meditate has been nicely arranged by somebody, really thoughtfully arranged. There's a couple of incense sticks burning on either side with a glorious smell, the one that turns you on the most. You think, and you sit down on the pile of cushions and you put your back against the rear wall of the cave. And you shuffle your back around a bit and you actually feel the solidity of that rear wall of the cave, which is the rear wall of your skull, supporting you very, very firmly. It feels very safe back here. And you close your eyes, and you close your physical eyes now as well, if you haven't already. And you just take a moment to sit in the back of the cave here, where you're totally safe. Nothing can harm you here. Nobody even knows where it is. So no one's going to find you here. You really are safe. And you know that feeling from when you were a child and you went off on your own when everyone else was playing, just for a moment, and sat somewhere and felt that amazing peace of being with yourself. Well, here you are, and you're sitting back against the rear wall of the skull, your mind just very gently gazing into infinity through the mouth of the cave, which would be located where the front of you, where your forehead is, the area between your eyebrows. And it's as if you can see a subtle line of fairly opaque but quite discernible white light streaming through the center of the forehead and out into infinite space beyond. And it just feels pleasant to focus your eyes along that line. There's no goal in it. There's no result for doing that other than feeling focused. It just feels nice, like exactly like when you used to gaze out of the window at the sky when you were at school, instead of listening to the teacher droning on. So you're gazing into infinity through that place, and that's beautiful, really, really nice indeed. But supporting that, what makes it feel safe, what makes it feel real and solid and warm, is the fact that underneath all of that, there's this rock-solid mountain of presence comprised of you, your presence, which is filling up all the rear part of your body. To bring this into focus, picture that every pore of in the skin on the front of your body and in your face is an aperture through which you can breathe. And as you breathe in, suck in a wall of air through all the pores of the skin of the front of the body and face simultaneously. And this wall of air that you're breathing in goes all the way into your back. And that causes you to come back inside. It makes you feel you're breathing into the back, you're breathing into your presence in the back. And you're observing this from the back of the brain there, the little bird of watching it all. And as the air comes into the back of the body, not literally obviously, as it comes into the back of the body, you use it as a gesture to yourself to celebrate being in the back. It's an unfamiliar place to be. It's not the habitual place. We're normally in the front, trying to get a bit of a closer look at the world. But instead, we're coming all the way back inside, and the in-breath pulls you back in to the back. Now the out-breath, visualize that you're breathing out from all of your back and the back of your brain. At the same time, breathing out forwards through all the pores of the skin in the front of the face and the front of the body. And that forward propulsion of the air has the effect of thrusting you back as if with G-force into your seat. In other words, into the back of you, like when you take off in a plane. So you're breathing in through the front of the body into the back, and here we are in the back. You're breathing out from the back through the front of the body, and here we are in the back even more. Now, the next thing to do from the back of you, as you sit here in your cave, gazing out into infinity, feeling already, you must admit, rather peaceful. Despite the fact that there is disturbance, you can kind of faintly hear it in the world. You can kind of faintly hear it in the front of your brain. You can faintly hear it in your belly and your heart and everywhere else. But only faintly. Now, the next thing to do is to look at the solar plexus. This is the area of the upper abdominal region, bang in the center, at the base of the breastbone, just where the xiphoid process is, just below that. Roughly where your stomach is, and it's a nerve plexus, which is a very underrated nerve plexus. According to the Taoists, of course, this is the plexus of the sun, is what it means. It's the place where you process all incoming information, whether it's in food form, or ideas form, or gravity form, light form. It's not that your sense organs aren't the receivers of the information, or that the subconscious isn't the processing device of all this information. It's just that the energy that enables you to do that, because it does take a lot of energy, is given you by the solar plexus. It's like the sun at midday burning in your belly. So it's like a nuclear reactor providing all the power that you need to process an infinite amount, I mean infinite, it's not just talking superlatives, of information that's assailing your person each and every nanosecond, incorporating the most complex calculations of air pressure changes, gravitational pull changes, everything everyone is thinking, everything everyone is saying. All of that actually is coming in through you at this very, very moment. The conscious mind, the bit in the forebrain, its job is to filter all that down into a description or complex of descriptions that kind of works for you to make sense of being this phenomenon that you are here in on this planet. And because we resist by nature, as do all forms, any form that holds its shape for a period of time does so by resisting the continuum of atoms, no less so us. And so we resist, and that's how we exist. And because that's our fundamental stance in relation to existence, we automatically, instinctively, without realizing it, are saying no first to every bit of incoming information. Like we're checking its passport, it has to wait, and then we go, okay, you can go through. Okay, you can go through. But it has to set stop first. We have to say, no, don't pass. No, okay, don't pass. Okay. And that's going on multiple levels at such huge amounts that you couldn't calculate it every nanosecond. So there will always be resistance to being here felt in the solar plexus. There will always be that tension in the solar plexus. that when you get drunk or similar and you feel really, really relaxed so that your solar plexus feels warm, life is beautiful then. That's when you feel good. So rather than wait to go out and have a good time or go and get drunk, right now, give a command to your solar plexus. Say, solar plexus, you beautiful plexus, I really love you. Okay, I want you to completely and utterly relax. Relax, relax. And feel your solar plexus going, wow, boss, thank you. I've been waiting for you to give me that command. I'm so tired. Well, solar plexus, my love, it is now time for you to let go and have a rest. And you can actually hear your solar plexus going, oh, thank you. And you feel it warm and soften and broaden somehow. The whole space there opens up. Kind of hard to trust it because it's so unfamiliar, but a little bit, just trusting it a little bit, you notice, feels really good. And it's okay to feel really good. Now the solar plexus controls very much what happens in your heart center, the middle chamber as the Taoists call it, the crimson palace. Now the heart organ itself is only the size of a heart, but in this other bigger dimension, the middle chamber is huge, huge, huge. It's really like a chamber, a massive chamber. It's so big, in fact, that all humanity, all 7+ billion of us, can fit within it right now. That's how big it is. You're sitting all the way back inside. Your little Buddha self is sitting in the back of the cave. Being in the back, you can feel the whole universe supporting you from behind. The hugeness of existence is with you. It's your friend. It's supporting you from behind. And your solar plexus, the gatekeeper, has softened this Sunday, and it's been told you can rest now for a bit. And as a result, the chamber of the heart is free to fully open and expand, and it's huge in there. And it's so huge that all the human family are sitting in there right now. All those voices, all those drives, all those urges, all of it are in there, representing all the voices that are within you. And of course, they're in tumult, varying degrees of tumult, as the world is. And because it's going on in your chest now, you're in command of it. It is like you are the Tao. You can command it to soften down. So you say to my human family, all 7 billion of you, including everybody in this circle from all the way around the world, I love you, I love you, I love you. Soften down now. Soften down. Come on, be soft. Be soft. Be soft. And you can actually feel 7+ billion people's souls going, oh, thank you, thank you. Now, to make this magic work, I've been visited by a very beautiful young man called Max the Superhero.
I'll say. Name's Steve Rogers.
Thank you. That was an example of one of the most beautiful members of our human family coming to bless us. Visualize a line of light, of energy, that runs
I'm scared
from your...
to go and get the suit and
I'm
the
talking
mask.
to hundreds
The
of
mask.
people.
I'm too scared to get the mask and the soldier suit.
Are you?
Too scared.
You have to excuse me. I'm talking to all these people here. I'm doing meditation with them. Do you mind if I do it? And there is a line of light that goes from the middle of your top lip through your bottom lip, and from there down into your solar plexus, what we were just talking about, into the center of your solar plexus. You're seeing this line from the back of you. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. You don't have to see it as light. It's just an energy that is connecting the top lip with the bottom lip and the middle of the solar plexus. And you are sitting back in the back of you, seeing that line. You'll notice that it causes order. It causes order in the front. Now, so composed as you are, with all of humanity inside of your chest, all the beautiful children like Max, all the adults, all the old people, both, say, yeah, in fact, all the genders, all the animals, all the sentient beings on this planet, and who knows beyond, are contained in this lovely warm space of the middle chamber of the heart within you. And in the cave, lest we forget the little wee Buddha, in that cave that you're sitting in, there's that glorious feeling of ancient primordial energy, that dark energy that was there before the great luminant even had the thought of making there be light. And so this is the real basic, before there was anything, energy, what we must presume is the composition of black holes. Out of the nothing comes to something. This is the nothing, the original, what the Taoists call Wu Qi. This dark energy, this beautiful, soothing, dark energy, before there is any disturbance, you can feel it seeping up through your back from the ground, this ancient energy, and infilling all parts of your back and the rear of the skull. And immediately it's powerful, it's an active energy. It's like active peace moving through you. And it's reaching out from the brain area, from the guts area, to the horizons. Instinctively it reaches out to the horizons in all directions, all around you. This is the energy pre-yin and yang, the very ground of being. Now, in this ground of being, which is supporting you, which is supporting all humanity, allow the very essence of the yin and the yang to balance out and harmonize themselves. Just get a sense of all the I want this, no I want that, no I want this, no I want that thing going on, it suddenly calming and going, yeah, I got this, I got that, and that feeling of absolute calm and harmony everywhere. Specifically, feel it in your belly, down where your belly button is, in your heart, and in the center of your brain right now. So you, each of us in fact in here, become the beacon of this incredible energy, this dark primordial energy, the ground of all being, suffused with a real gorgeous warmth, a crimson-like warmth of love. And feel it suffuse every single cell of your body, every single cell of your mind, and every single cell of humanity. In other words, all the brothers and sisters, all the way around the world, all the sentient beings, all the animals, all the fish, all the three-toed sloths, all of everyone, all of us, bathing, suffused by, enveloped in this crimson fuchsia gold, vaporous like chi, this soothing, healing balm of peace. And it's so strong that it misses no one out. No one is excluded from it. No matter how much distortion they perpetrated, no one is exempt from this blessing. And that, of course, includes the leaders, the people who have the awful, horrible job of trying to steer the ship for everybody, all the way to them, so that even the leaders, the world leaders, who have this horrible task, this awful challenge, they even feel it now. In their hearts, they feel this, oh. Now, we know, because you can feel it, that when we feel this peace, we are not inclined to make decisions that would hurt people. It would be the last thing we want to do. What we want to do is make decisions that will enhance people, enhance the peace for everybody. And now, bless similarly your own life as you're perceiving it, because of course it's only a perception. You know, it's your description of what your life is, what you see coming up for you, the upcoming action of your life. And you know, you'll probably have things that you're a little bit scared of. Are they going to work out? Is that guy going to do this to me? Or am I going to manage to do what I want to do here? Or are they going to stop me? And will I be able to? And all the stuff that we all think about all the time, in the front of the brain, that is. See all of those things, as well as all the things you feel good about and happy about, suffused by this same fuchsia gold crimson vapor, bringing that same harmony, that same beautiful roundness to every cell of all of that what you're perceiving as what's coming up. See your hands, your arms, your legs suffused by it. It's like, well, actually, I'll tell you what it's like. What we are now are basically, we're the angels. We are those angels we talk to. In this state, we've managed to transcend the local. We've gone back and back and back through a few layers of illusion and find ourselves as the angelic beings. Human beings, yeah, but the angelic version, the archangels even. And we can see ourselves in a circle all the way around the planet, out in the ether, slightly in a different dimension, holding hands, because we're loving angels, us. And a beautiful image, isn't it? Imagine that. Hundreds of angels, huge, huge, huge angels, holding hands with their wings a little bit aflutter, gliding there, just holding, treading air, all the way around the planet at the appropriate distance, whatever that is, 20, 30 miles an hour, I don't know. And collectively intending from the heart and the soul and the body and all the strength in you to transmit this fuchsia, gold, rose, beautiful vapor of love, of peace to everyone on that planet, to all the people that are on that planet right now, that beautiful green, blue, white, beige, swirly-whirly planet that's there in our midst. It's a beautiful spectacle. You can see it really clearly, lit up on the one side, lit up a bit on the other by the moon, the stars all around. The atmosphere out here feels gorgeous. It's really rare, it's really quiet, quite cold, but that doesn't matter because we're angels, and it all feels very, very, very beautiful. And we're shunting, we're pumping this rose gold fuchsia vapor, this light, onto the surface of the planet, where it washes up and splashes around and goes everywhere until the whole surface of the earth is covered. Even the sea, even the highest mountains, the lowest valleys, the busiest cities, the quietest countryside, and every single sentient being, and especially all our brothers and sisters in the human family, without exception, are now being bathed by this healing, beautiful blessing that the archangels, us lot, are sending. And now do a bit of beautiful acrobatics, stay as the angel, but simultaneously be aware of the front self, the confected self, the illusory self, the local self, the environmentally referenced self, the little self, there, sitting wherever it's sitting, being bathed by this amazing sensation that seems like it must have been sent by a group of angels, a whole squad of angels standing in a circle in the air around the planet, beaming. It's what it feels like. Call me crazy. I don't even know if I believe in angels, but this really feels right. It's beautiful. Feel that, feel that, feel that now. Feel the energy coming into you, coming in through every pore in your skin, down every shaft of hair, into your body, into your mind, into your soul, into every part of you, all the way to your very bone marrow. Feel it in you now. Feel it somehow twinkling and tingling and sparkling and doing all that kind of stuff out from you in concentric circles to infuse your life and all the activities of this upcoming week, all the people you're going to deal with, all the challenges you're going to have to face, and all of them get smoothed out beautifully by magic, miraculously. And you, in the heart of it all, are in a state of fluid, bouncy, bouncy, perpetual peace. You have now pumped up your peace. Next week, which is the final of this sequence, is going to be the plenitude restorative session. Plenitude meaning fullness. So this is all about the abundance. It was just the word that began with P that had to fit on the end there. It's a beautiful word, isn't it? Plenitude. Now, I know this has gone on a lot. I haven't even looked at the time. I'm going to now. Yikes. But that's not that bad. It's 7 past. Over to you, Sue.
Hello. I feel so much more peaceful now we've got the sound sorted, and that all went lovely.
Good.
We have no questions in at the moment.
Well, that's good. Then I'll just say bye-bye. So thank you very much for being here and adding to my joy. And I do send you a magic spell, i.e. a deep felt wish for the peace that we've touched upon here to grow in you like a thing that you can't stop. You know, one of those things that gets in there and just grow like Quatermass, but a positive one. And it just grows and grows and grows until every part of you is feeling just peaceful in a beautiful way, not a boring way, an excited peacefulness to be alive. it, that it's not jagged, it's smooth and it's gorgeous, and that wherever you go, whoever you talk to, without trying to act all peaceful, just being yourself, everyone feels it around you, and you notice wherever you go this week that people start acting peacefully around you, and you can just get a sense that because of that, it's spreading further and further, and it's as if we've actually done it, because I do believe we have. And that's it, and that's all. Thank you very much indeed. Come next week, it's going to be beautiful. We pump up the plenitude and make it all full and abundant for everybody. We do that magic. Okay, and goodbye.
Coming home, that's what you want. Coming home is what you wanted all the while. Back to this place where you've always been free. Back to this place where you can't fail to see. Everybody and everything is one. Everybody and everything is one. Not that I'm being judgmental or regimental, maybe mildly sentimental, but I'm sure you've noticed existence is a mystery.